Namaskar to one and all. It's a very auspicious day for all of us today. It's Mother's birthday, not just an event on the calendar. For all of us, the Mother's birthday is a day where we celebrate this birthday and take a step forward in the evolutionary process. Today's message is absolutely relevant to today's topic. Today's topic is how do we live integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo. We all read him, Life Divine, Savitri, his spiritual experiences. But how do we lead? How do we actually implement the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo in our daily life? That is the topic of the day today, and it's absolutely relevant. It is also further all the more important because 2028 is going to be 150th birth anniversary of the Mother. We are completing 150 years of Mother's presence amidst us in human form, in physical form, which again is a milestone, which again is the hour of God. The entire philosophy of Sri Aurobindo can be said in one Mahavakya. It is all life is yoga. This should give us a link to know and to tell us how we should lead our life, how we should implement, integrate the principles of integral yoga in our daily life. All life is yoga. That means every action of ours, every deed of ours, be it inhaling, be it exhaling, be it a breathing, be it any action, be it anything, it should be inclined towards the divine. It should be offered to the divine. And now the next question comes, what is this divine? As Sri Aurobindo puts it, it is the Alpha and it is the Omega. It is the Supreme Consciousness. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. It is that which is this divine consciousness. It is the summit of supramental consciousness. It is the highest one who has created, without whom nothing exists. Everything is responsible, and he is that one source of energy, one source, the origin, that is divine. And where do we find it? And this divine is everywhere. This divine is in the atom, this divine is in the matter, this divine is in the antimatter, this divine is within you, this divine is within me, this divine is everywhere. It is everywhere, all pervasive. This supreme consciousness actually is everywhere, without which nothing moves in the universe. It is there in the galaxies, it is there in the electrons. The orbiting of electrons happen because of this energy. The orbiting of galaxies around one central sun happens because of this. It is this movement which is, we call it as consciousness, the supreme consciousness. Sri Aurobindo calls it as supramental consciousness, the divine consciousness. And now, if we have defined what divine is and where can we find the divine? We can find the divine outside, we can find the divine inside. But the next question is, how do we find it? How do we find this divine? Where is it? We know it is inside us, it is outside us, but how do we do it? And this is where the role of the mother comes into picture. This is where the Divine Mother comes into picture. And who is this mother? born as Mira Alfasa on 21st February, on this day, 1878 in Paris, to a Turkish father, Morais Alfasa, and an Egyptian mother, Mathilde. And she was the second child, and her brother, elder brother, was Matthew Alfasa. The four of them shifted to Paris and settled in Paris. When she was at 5, she actually felt the presence of something divine within her. She became conscious of the divine presence at the age of 5. At the age of 7, it was a concrete presence in her. And that is when her yoga starts in Paris. It's very interesting to recall here today that Sri Aurobindo has said, it is to France the spiritual message of will be spread in Europe. This is what Sri Aurobindo has said. And in fact, he even gone to the extent of saying that if it was not Matteo, that is mother's brother, he would have probably not settled in India, but somewhere in the US, and probably I would have worked for supramentalizing Americans. This is what Sri Aurobindo has written about her brother. These are few important things which we are normally not aware of it, but it is recorded. So it is that mother, it is that the Divine Mother whom we are talking about. In fact, at the age of 12 itself, much before meeting Sri Aurobindo, much before she came into the influence of Sri Aurobindo, she already knew what is the goal of integral yoga without knowing the name of integral yoga. She knew the aim of human life is not to stop here. The aim of human life is to become one with the divine, and then it does not stop there. It does not stop at becoming one with the divine. It does not stop by uniting with the divine or by the realization of the divine. It has to be that divine, that supreme consciousness has to be brought down on earth into every living being, into our lower nature, and then divinize the earth. And that is how establish the life divine upon earth. And this she knew. She knew even the Rit Chit, she knew the supermind, but without the terminologies. Which means to say that the mother, growing in France, in the Western world, away from the influence of the East, without knowing anything about the East, her yoga had already started. It is that mother we are talking about. And it is that mother who is going to lead us. How do we live Sri Aurobindo's yoga? And that is what the topic is. And in fact, when mother came to and settled in the ashram, nobody called her the mother. She was always Mira for everybody, Mira for everybody. And then she also records, so some of them who have seen, they see, and then they see that Sri Aurobindo, every time he called the mother as Mira, he hesitated to call her as Mira, because the M in Mira and the M in mother always led to that confusion. And then he always, for a brief second it seems, he always stopped at Yam, and then finally he announces that one day she will be called the mother. And then when she wrote the book, The Mother, and everybody accepts her as the mother. I don't have to get into the details of what he has written about the Divine Mother in his one of the most wonderful books that we all have probably read. And Mother also has said not to grieve about Sri Aurobindo's departure. If we grieve about Sri Aurobindo's departure, if we feel sad on that particular day, it is an insult to Sri Aurobindo. Because Sri Aurobindo has not gone anywhere. He is always with us. He is in the atmosphere. He is seeing us. And now when Mother talked about this, about Sri Aurobindo, and now the same thing applies to the Mother also. For us, she has not left us. She is within us. She is looking at us. She is guiding us. She is always with us, and then her grace is abundant, infinite. Sri Aurobindo and the Mother are probably the same consciousness in two bodies. They are not different. They are two avatars. One avatar in two bodies. We can put it that way. That is how George Reckham calls it. One avatar in two bodies. And this is when it keeps happening. It is Sri Aurobindo, if Sri Aurobindo is the knowledge, if Sri Aurobindo is the Purusha behind everything, it is the Mother as consciousness force, as the creatrix, as the administrative, executor, everything that happens in the universe. And she is that. I would like to read this from, since the beginning of the earth, this Vaishali read, since the beginning of the earth, wherever and whenever there was a possibility of manifesting a ray of consciousness, I was there. This is when some of the disciples asked Sri Aurobindo that you say that Mother says and you say that you have always been there in the earth, on the earth, since its beginning. And that is when this reply comes. Since the beginning of the earth, and wherever and whenever there was a possibility of manifesting a ray of consciousness, I was there. The Mother is present throughout as Chit Shakti, nurturing, sustaining and manifesting life. She acts as the foundational, maternal and eternal energy of the cosmos, the source of all vitality, fertility and creation. Her presence embodies the eternal and transformative spirit within all things. This is what the Mother is. I belong to no nation, no civilization, no society, no race, but to the divine. I obey no master, no ruler, no law, no social convention, but the divine. To Him I have surrendered all, will, life and self. For Him I am ready to give all my blood, drop by drop, if such is His will, with complete joy, and nothing in His service can be sacrificed for all His perfect delight. The importance of Mother's birthday and all other birthdays, even for us as individuals, on this particular special day, as an individual, for us, during our birthday, it is when the psychic being or my soul is very close to the divine. It has a special arrangement, special attention of the divine on my birthday. So there is an extra grace. Grace is required, and it is that grace which is there on all individuals. But in case of the mothers, on this day, on Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's birthday, it is a collective opportunity for all their children to go a step forward in the evolutionary process. This actually becomes extremely important. So this day for us, for her children, and for all the devotees and the followers of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, for us this becomes a day where we, without any hesitation, with complete surrender to her, complete faith in her, we take a step forward. And there are many people, many devotees who very often ask, whenever we talk to you and whenever we talk to the Mother, we feel and wonder whether your approach and Sri Aurobindo's approach to the same integral yoga, is it different or is it same? It is obviously the same. The ultimate goal, whether it is directed and guided by the Mother or as guided by Sri Aurobindo's grace, it is the same. But certainly the approach is different. Certainly the approach is different. Sri Aurobindo gives us grand vision. Sri Aurobindo talks about the future of humanity, the goal of humanity. He talks about the divinization of life on earth. He talks about evolution, but the evolution of the consciousness itself. When this is the grand vision of Sri Aurobindo, it is the Mother who actually holds us, our hand, and then makes this realize. If Sri Aurobindo is the grand architect of this grand vision, Mother tells us how to lay each brick by brick by brick and then achieve this grand architecture. And that is the role of the Mother. She walks with us, holding our hands in hand. She guides us in all our difficulties. She is with us all in our difficulties. She is in our kitchen, she is in our classroom, she is in our work, she is everywhere, she is with us. She doesn't hesitate to punish us and to tell us that where you are wrong. So at this moment, it is all the more important that instead of blaming the divine, of all people, why this trouble only to me? And this is our human nature. Very common that why I only should be aimed at, why I only should suffer when everybody is so happy. It is not true. Everybody is equally unhappy. Everybody suffers. But only at that moment, if we ask ourselves and to find out what is the Mother's intention and what does she want to teach, where do I falter? How do I go a step beyond? And this becomes very, very important. If Sri Aurobindo reveals the secret of life, if he tells us how supramentalization can happen through psychicization, how it should happen, and it is where the Mother comes into picture. Mother tells us very clearly, try to find the divine outside. He is everywhere, true. But it is very difficult for you to find the divine outside. So the first thing is divine is within you. So in introspection, looking within is very, very simple, very, very easy. All you have to do is surrender to me. Once you surrender to me, look within and the divine is there with you. That is the first step. And then you look outside, then you will find the divine everywhere. And that is the second step. And then the third step is the vertical ascension, the realization of the hierarchies of minds, etc., different planes of consciousness, going higher and higher and higher. This is where the Mother is there with us at every step. Mother brings yoga into every aspect of our daily life. Perfection is another name of integral yoga. Whatever we do, whatever we try to execute, all we have to do is offer everything to the mother. Then it becomes yoga. She takes charge of our nature as it is. We are ignorant. We have so many weaknesses. Desire, we are governed by the desires. It's very, very complicated for all of us. We are not enlightened until we completely surrender to the Mother, to that Supreme, to that Divine Consciousness. It becomes extremely difficult. She will not be able to transform us, but her grace is always with us. It is that which is her speciality. She accepts us with all these weaknesses, with all these desires, good, bad, my greed, my need. She takes care of everything once we surrender. Now, let me come to the topic of the day today. Let us see, on this particular day, take some pointers and how can we live Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga in the backdrop of Mother's teachings and guidance. Number one is remember her forever. All 24 hours, let us try to remember her. It is that beautiful step in science of living where take a step back. Let it be even fraction of a second, 1/zillionth of a second. Whenever I say anything, whenever I talk anything, whenever we do anything, let us take a step back and offer it to the Divine. Offer it to her. It is you who is talking through me. It is you who are doing things through me. It is you who is doing everything. And you don't have to sit and meditate for hours together for a long time. No. This is a very brief, even a thought process of this kind goes and as a flash, within fraction of a second, within zillionth of a second. And if we do this repeatedly, all the 24 hours, all 365 days, it gets into us. And the whole aspect, a consciousness called the Mother, becomes our part. Mother is not just a name, it is a principle. It is the principle of consciousness which becomes a part of us. And this is what is the first step, the remember forever. And all the more importance is, Sri Aurobindo tells us that she is the Shakti. She is the Supreme Shakti. She is the one who does everything in the universe. Without her consciousness, without her knowledge, nothing can happen. And when that Shakti is with me and that Shakti is with us, whom should we be afraid of? Whom should we fear of? And nothing. What is wrong in dedicating, offering every second of ours, every action of ours to the Divine Mother? And this is one of the steps. There are many, because we are all individuals. We all are unique, as Mother says. And then we have our own interpretations, we have our own understandings, we have our own approach. But I would like to keep before you as I understand, as I look at it. So this is the first step. Remember the Mother forever. And second important thing is sincerity and inner truthfulness. What is this sincerity and inner truthfulness? All of us, if you really introspect, we have two personalities. We are something outside, we are something inside. We want to show off. God is not in those places. I remember this beautiful story There was a Krishna Janmashtami in one of the kingdoms where the entire village was decorated, colorful. You know, Krishna is very colorful. Krishna is not like Shiva, sitting on the mountains with very little dress, but robust, very manly. Krishna is not like that. Krishna is soft, delicate, colorful, dynamic. The splendor of colors, ecstasy, beauty, harmony. So Krishna represents that. And lot of programs, everything is happening in this village, and there is a main temple. And Narada gets so much influenced and then attracted by the village. He comes to the village and then he enters the temple. Narada is Narada. He has freedom everywhere. He goes into the temple, he goes into the Garbhagriha and then finds that Krishna is not there at all. Everybody is celebrating. Krishna is not there in the temple, is not there in the Garbhagriha. He comes in search of Krishna and he finally finds Krishna playing with the kids, young kids outside the temple, behind the temple. He is playing with those children. And Narada asks him, everybody is there. Why are you here? Everybody is outside. Nobody is inside. So that is why I am not here. I am not inside. So this is exactly what happens this is what is required. Sincerity and truthfulness. No kind of two personalities. Many of us have this. Oh, you do my work, I will come to Tirupati and put about 1 lakh rupees in the hundi. And you can't bribe God, can we? Can we bribe God? Can we give him some commission? This is what it is. We are trying to give him a commission. I have seen many people doing this. You get me 1 crore job, I will give you 1% of that. You think God is waiting for your commission? Don't do that. So that is where Mother calls it as sincerity and truthfulness within the heart. Be what you are. But it is very difficult, friends. It is extremely difficult to be same within and without. Outside, we try to please so many people. We try to not to. There may be so many reasons, but what Mother calls for is be one. If you are good inside, and be good outside also. Don't try to be good outside and then don't try to be bad within you. Don't keep talking very good things, sweet things to a person, but within, when will this fellow go out? I don't want to see this person. We carry these kinds of feelings many a times, and this should not be done. That is the second step. Third step, Mother talks about, she wants us to be the hero warriors. And it is a prayer. It is one of the school prayer. It is a prayer in the international school where she established it in Pondicherry. It is in most of our Auro schools. And hero warriors of what? Hero warriors not on the battlegrounds outside. It is the hero warriors on the battleground within. How can we fight our desires? How can we fight to raise, to go one notch above from our existing state of consciousness? How do we go about? How do we get rid of all those desires? How do we get rid of all those negativities? How do we raise above? And that is what is the third step. And instead of fighting outside, with her help, with her grace, we need to fight within. Please remember, integral yoga is not one way. Integral yoga is not one way. Integral yoga is a two-way yoga. A two-way because one way is the aspiration and second way is the grace. Unless sincere aspiration from the below and it is matched with the grace above, then only the next step on the stairs can be climbed. It is not a yoga where conventional I run away from the society, sit and seek for my individual salvation and realize the divine. That is one way. It is bringing that divine and establishing it on the earth in our lower nature. That is the second way. Then the integral yoga completes. So integral yoga is not one-way yoga, it is a two-way yoga. So this has to be remembered. And that is the fourth one. Sincere aspiration gives us everything. Mother has talked about it. And I have seen it in this complex. What is happening? An ardent, sincere aspiration. Jagirdarji, who is sitting here, many of us have visited Aurobindo. What kind of aspiration, how aspiration, a sincere, ardent aspiration will be answered by the divine. And not only answered by the divine, what does it mean? Answered by the divine is converting it into manifestation. An ardent aspiration manifests what you want, what you aspire for, and that is with the grace, and that is possible with the grace. The fifth one is the surrender, faith, and trust. All these things are simultaneously required. We have to surrender to the divine. And this surrender is possible only when I have complete faith in the divine, isn't it? If I don't have faith in the divine, I cannot trust. So this faith, and unless I have the complete trust, unless I have the complete faith, it becomes extremely difficult to surrender. The sixth one is equality, peace and calmness within. It is absolutely necessary for us to be calm, quiet, poised. All these things are absolutely required. As told by Sri Aurobindo in his letters of yoga, while answering many disciples and sadhaks who kept on asking them his question, where there should not be any kind of agitation, empathy towards others. What is that? That is actually more important. Equanimity, samatva, that is, irrespective of the situation, we are always completely surrendered to her, complete faith in her. This is required. This is actually the sixth step. Seventh is love, compassion and respect. You remember those days where Sri Aurobindo was in Alipurje, when there was a day when he suddenly started seeing Sri Krishna everywhere. The jailer looked like Sri Krishna. The person who came to feed him food, he looked like Krishna. Everything looked Krishna, 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 everything. This love, this compassion, this respect not an individual, it is the respect to the psychic being, to the soul within you. It is that respect which becomes absolutely important. And isn't it, in what way that is different from Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? unless I see the same within the other person, the same within you, within him, within her, everything is same, then only this possibility of all in one and one in all comes, isn't it? And so that is what is important, and that is the 7th step. 8th step is, as we said in the beginning, is all life is yoga. We need to offer ourselves for every step to the divine and try to be perfect towards what we do. Have you seen, I'm sure all of you have seen, when we sit to work, when a meeting happens, many times it happens in my room. After the meeting happens, people just get up and then go. Mother always insisted that when you get up, give respect to the chair because it has seated you for some time. Give respect to the chair and then push it back to the original position. Bring the system, bring the pattern, maintain the harmony of the place. Otherwise, one chair will be turned this way, one chair will be turned that way, one chair. It reflects not the chair, it reflects the person who was sitting on the chair. That is where the perfection towards perfection has to become. Mother used to be very strict about these things. Very strict. How to close the pen, not to throw the pen, not to throw the paper. So systematic. You know, it was, Mother was, we know about Sri Aurobindo, but Mother was everything. Mother was one of the greatest administrators. She has shown, she has established 400 departments, and she has also shown very clearly that she is a good administrator because the entire ashram is self-sustaining. She established 400 plus departments. Everything is self-sustaining. She showed us that. She was a great painter. She was a great musician. She was a pianist, a great artist, a great numerologist, a great educationist. She has proved that. A great psychologist. Who else was the mother? Have you thought about these things? Her, as a numerologist, she has explained every number, the importance, the significance, the way flower significance was told by the mother. Mother has spoken about each number and their significance. So this is what the mother is. The next one, the 9th step is inner growth. This also is required. Sri Aurobindo's yoga is, no doubt, is collective yoga. But the collective yoga to happen, individual yoga is also required. Individual sadhana is required. My own effort. Please remember one thing. Mother never expects us to be perfect. No. She expects us the way what we are. All she demands is sincerity, honesty, and perseverance. With these 3 things, if you go, it will take you to the divine. And this is what is actually required for the inner growth. The self sadhana is required, and this can happen only with the grace, by the grace of the mother. We all do satsanga. It is also for self-development, self-growth. And imagine, we have each one of us today who have gathered here. We start thinking in our own consciousness, genuinely, that Mother, we all come here repeatedly. And it is here where we feel the concrete presence of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, because he is here. Sri Aurobindo is here. And that is why this place vibes with divine vibrations. And when we all come here with sincerity, all of us, ultimately everything is energy, everything is vibration. And if this vibration that emanates from each one of us collectively becomes one and has the same goal, and our aspiration, collective aspiration, will make this place grow more and more stronger and becomes, it reaches the Jagrata Avastha, what we call. And that is why many temples here, or not all temples, very few temples are there where this, we call that temple is Jagrata. A lot of the deity is there, where we actually feel the grace and the conversion of the grace into the physical manifestation of the grace itself. 10th step is the gratitude. Every day, at least once in a day, at the end of 24 hours, let us express our gratitude to the Divine. Samajaruna, Pitraruna, Devaruna. Have you ever shown any gratitude towards your heart? Poor organ keeps on beating from the day I am born. We take too many things for granted. We take the Divine also for granted. We blame Him whenever things don't happen in our favor. Appreciate when things happen in our favor. This is very common thing, but let us express our gratitude to the Divine. These are the 10 steps where the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo can be lived in our daily life. 3 important things emerging out of this is aspiration, as we talked about, right? An ardent aspiration to become one with the Divine, to have its grace on us, to achieve its goal. Let thy will be done. That kind of an attitude, that is the aspiration which comes. The second step is the rejection. Rejection of what? Rejection of negative thoughts. What Mother and Sri Aurobindo tells, when you sit for meditation, there are so many disturbances, disturbing thoughts, negative thoughts, so many floods of them will come into picture. And how do we stop them? Only by rejecting them. No, I don't want this thought. I don't want you. Get out. Move out. No. So this is the rejection. Then the third one is surrender of all our actions, results, decisions, everything at their feet. And these are some of the 12 things which I thought I can share with you all today. And before we move on next program, since I am here, one of the books that is going to be released today is The Hour of God, translated in Kannada by Dr. R.K. Kulkarni, about whom Jagirdar ji will speak. What is this hour of God? It is translated by Dr. R.K. Kulkarni and it is Deva Muhurta. The hour of God here is not a unit of time. The hour referred here is a cosmic principle that we should take. When Sri Aurobindo talks about the hour of God, it is a cosmic principle where the higher consciousness intervenes into every action on earth to take it to a higher level which complements the evolutionary process. And at that moment, It may be one moment, it may be few avatars, it may be few years, but that is the hour of God. That is why I say it is a cosmic principle. It signifies the right time, the right moment where the change in consciousness to speed up the evolutionary process. There have been many such hours in the past. The creation itself, the moment when somebody sitting there decided to create, that itself probably is the hour of God. In the process of creation, whether it is the physical evolution, whether it is chemical evolution, immediately after the creation of the universe or after the Big Bang, there was a chemical evolution. The chemical evolution is the one which actually led to the formation of all these gases which are sustaining us, which sustain every life. That probably is the hour of God. Following the chemical evolution, there was biological evolution. Physical evolution was always there. Also there was a biological evolution. How did life evolve in matter? That was the hour of God. When avatars came, that was the hour of God. And all these people, whether it is avatars or the presence, the higher consciousness is always amidst us in the form of avatars or in the form of vibhutis or in the form of good human beings, because we are all gods, aren't we? All gods. So, this is the hour of God. The descent of higher consciousness can also disrupt the rhythm of the universe. All these chaos, what we are seeing now, Sri Aurobindo says this kind of a chaos, whenever there is a shift to happen, and for a better, for a higher purpose, when these things happen, this kind of chaos is a must. We don't know what is going to happen, but this kind of chaos is must. And this is the hour of God. And that hour of God is now. We are so lucky. We are born in the period of, in the century where Sri Aurobindo and Mother are here with us. Their concrete grace with us. And unless we collaborate in their aim for furthering the evolutionary process, we will be a part of it. Otherwise, as Mother said, nature will not stop if you do not cooperate. It is something like getting into the train. I want to go to Delhi, there is a train in the station. Train will not stop. If you leave, stand outside, if you don't get into the train, train will move. You are where you get stagnated. And that is exactly the same thing in the integral yoga. Either you collaborate, otherwise nature will enforce upon you. It will happen. It will automatically happen. So this hour of God, when we know that the Mother is still with us in the subtle world, Sri Aurobindo is with us in the subtle world. Their force is working with us, on us, within us, trying to lift us from the shackles of lower nature. We should collaborate with this entire process. And that is where 150th birth anniversary of the Mother is probably another milestone, another hour of God. Surely it is. And let us not stay away from this. Let us become a part of the entire movement, the entire evolutionary process, collaborate with their effort. And lastly, if we miss this opportunity of not collaborating, What exactly happened to February 29th, 1956? The supramental came down. Why it did not descend on earth? Why it has to stay in the subtle physical of the earth? Because Sri Aurobindo says very clearly, the mother says subsequently, humanity was not yet ready to receive it. Its impact is happening. We don't know in what way we are happening. All we can observe is there is tremendous amount of chaos that is happening, but we also see there is a huge amount of development. So with these few words, I close here. Thank you.